In this video, I will be discussing developmental milestones as well as some of the primitive reflexes. Different sources say different things about when precisely these reflexes are supposed to disappear, but I will be presenting them in a way that's easiest to remember. There are 4 reflexes all medical students should know: Moro, rooting, Palmer, and Babinski. The Moro reflex happens when you startle the baby, usually initiated by pulling the baby up from lying down and suddenly let its head fall back. The baby should rapidly abduct and extend the arms, open the hands, tense the back muscles, and sometimes begin crying. Moro has 4 letters, and usually it disappears by 4 months. The rooting reflex exists to help the naive infant begin to breastfeed. When you stroke their cheek, they respond by turning their head and beginning to suckle. The root word of rooting is root, which has 4 letters, and this reflex usually disappears by 4 months as well. The Palmer reflex is the involuntary flexion of the fingers following hand stimulation. Palmer has 6 letters and usually disappears by 6 months. The Babinski reflex is a sign of an upper motor neuron lesion in adults, but it's physiologic in babies. It is present when the big toe extends upward and the other toes fan out in response to stimulation of the bottom of the foot. This one doesn't follow the rule of letters, so just know it disappears at 12 months, which is 1 year. Now for the developmental milestones. At 1 month, the infant should be able to lift its head. If not, it could be a sign of hypotonia. At 6 months, the infant should be following the S rule: sitting, stranger anxiety, and switching hands, which means it should be passing a toy from one hand to the other. At 9 months, the infant should be able to crawl. Crawling kind of looks like a 9 fell down, and a 9 also looks like the letter P in the mirror, so I'll use that to remember that 9-month-old infants develop object permanence and separation anxiety. At 12 months, or 1 year, the toddler should be standing. The number 1 looks like it's standing, and taking the first steps. It should also be able to use a pincer grasp and throw a ball. As for language, it should also be using its first words and following one-step commands, perhaps with a helpful gesture. At 18 months, a toddler will be running around and kicking a ball. It should be able to remove clothing, depicted here as the shoe coming off, and build a cube tower. A good rule is that children can build a cube tower as tall as 3 times their age in years. For language, they should be able to say 18 words, give or take, and identify a body part. They should understand the concept of mine and pretend like playing with a stuffed animal. For the rest of the milestones, I will draw the child's head as the shape they should be able to copy. So at 2 years, a toddler should be able to draw a line. They should also be able to go up the stairs 2 feet at a time and jump, which requires 2 feet, say 2-word phrases, follow 2-step commands, and begin toilet training, number 2. They should be able to say at the minimum 50 words, which follows the rules of 2s if you consider that 50 is half of 100. They should also engage in parallel play, which is when children play next to each other, mostly by themselves, but showing interest in the others. At 3 years, a toddler should now be able to go upstairs with alternating feet. As you can see by the head, they should also be able to copy a circle. I've drawn the hair to indicate that the child should also know what age/gender they are. They can also use utensils and engage in imaginative play. They should be able to use 3-word sentences, be 3/4 or 75% intelligible to strangers, ride a tricycle, and say about 1,000 words, which has 3 zeros. Finally, 3-year-olds should be able to spend the day away from their parents, hence, I am free, which kind of rhymes with 3. At 4 years, a preschooler should be able to balance and hop on 1 foot, just like the number 4, and be able to copy a square. They should also know their colors, be 4/4 100% intelligible, and engage in cooperative play, which is kind of included in the picture with the "and" to indicate cooperativeness. At 5 years, a child should be able to do everything a kindergartner should be able to do, with a good deal of independency. This includes skipping, walking backwards, copying a triangle, dressing, bathing, printing letters, counting numbers, and saying 5-word sentences. They should also have friends and be completing their toilet training.
Next, we have the middle childhood brings many changes in a child's life. By this time, children can dress themselves, catch a ball more easily using only their hands, and tie their shoes. Having independence from family becomes more important now. Events such as starting school bring children this age into regular contact with the larger world. Friendships become more and more important. Physical and social and mental skills develop quickly at this time. This is a critical time for children to develop confidence in all areas of life, such as through friends, schoolwork, and sports. Children in this age group might show more independence from parents and family, start to think about the future, understand more about his or her place in the world, pay more attention to friendships and teamwork, or want to be liked and accepted by friends. They show rapid development of mental skills, learn better ways to describe experiences and talk about the thoughts and feelings, have less focus on oneself and more concern for others. Last is the adolescence. These years from puberty to adulthood may be roughly divided into 3 stages: early adolescence, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. In addition to physiological growth, 7 key intellectual, psychological, and social development tasks are squeezed into these years. The fundamental purpose of this task is to form one's own identity and to prepare for adulthood. Puberty is defined as the biological changes of adolescence. By mid-adolescence, if not sooner, most youngsters' physiological growth is complete. They are at or close to their adult height and weight and are now physically capable of having babies. Most boys and girls enter adolescence still perceiving the world around them in concrete terms. Things are either right or wrong, awesome or awful. They are rarely set their sights beyond the present, which explains younger teens' inability to consider the long-term consequences of their actions. If teenagers can be said to have a reason for being, it would have to be asserting their independence. Yet adolescents frequently feel conflicted about leaving the safety and security of home. They may go back and forth between craving your attention only to spin away again. So there you have it, the developmental milestone of the infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, and adolescence. Hope you like it!